Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to some EVE Online. Welcome to Co-Incorporated. So this is co-inquiry processing my Astrahus Citadel in the Citadel system. And in today's video, I want to give you guys a bit of an update on the Citadel having been deployed for 1 week in EVE Online. It's been a pretty busy week. It's been a pretty successful week from my standpoint. And so I want to give you guys a little bit of some background basically about what happened when I first deployed the Citadel. Now, maybe I should start with the risks, right? Deploying a Citadel has not been the easiest thing to do in the first week since the Citadel expansion has launched, because after you start anchoring a Citadel, there's a 24-hour timer, but after that timer there is a 15-minute window where your Citadel is vulnerable and it can be attacked without you having had the chance to actually fit your Citadel. And actually I think most of the Astrahuses that have blown up have been destroyed during those 15 minutes. So the big difference, I would say, is where do you deploy your Citadel this early on. If you deploy it next to a gate going into Jita, that means that in your first 15 minutes you will have had hundreds, maybe even thousands of eyeballs that have actually seen the deployment of your Citadel. And that's how you end up with 6 war decks and a destroyed Citadel after the first 24 hours. I deployed mine in Citadel, a system with no station, with very low population. As you can see, there's only 3 people here at the moment. For now, we are right after downtime. But yeah, this has been a little bit under the radar, and I also made a video about it as I was anchoring it, but I only released that video a few hours later for that specific purpose, the safety of my Citadel. So we didn't get war decked in the first 15 minutes of the anchoring process. That means you're basically safe, right? Your Citadel is going to run through 24 hours and the first 15 minutes before any war deck can actually become active. And that means that you will get the chance to actually fit your Citadel and be ready for an attack. Another thing is, of course, that once it is deployed, now it has some defenses, of course. If I go for the fitting here at the moment, so the fitting, oops, I actually need to take control for that. So the fitting of the Citadel, it's not going to stop an opponent that wants to destroy your Citadel, right? It doesn't take that many battleships. A big corporation or an alliance that wants to take out an Astrahus can do so. But I've got some ECM in the mid slots, I've got a few newts, I've got the missile launchers that do 2000 DPS, not that great you may say, but alright. And I have 3 squadrons of fighters that don't show up on the DPS meter, so I can't really give you any numbers on that. But at least the Citadel can defend itself a little bit against, let's say, a small corporation or a small offensive force. All of this for me in HiSec is focused around tackling battleships and battle cruisers. So I want to be able to do as much damage on those, ECM as many of those out, make it as hard as possible for them to actually break my shields in the hour of vulnerability. And that is really the second part that's making a big difference here, is that during the first 15 minutes after the 24-hour anchoring time, you are of course very vulnerable and you are in structure, so they can destroy you right away. Now for this Citadel, you need to go through 3 timers. So the first one, let's say they start a war deck now, within 24 hours we go vulnerable, they can take on the shields, but that's it. Then I become invulnerable again. They have to wait for a second period, they have to then tackle the armor, and then they have to wait for a third period where they have to go through the structure. Now on an Astrahus that only has 3 hours of vulnerability over an entire week, that means that they basically need the entire week, the entire war deck, just to have a chance at destroying the Astrahus Citadel from their first go, which is, I think, a lot harder to do now than of course going after an Astrahus in the first 15 minutes vulnerability timer after anchoring. So is this something that is really very risky? I don't think so. Once you get it deployed, it is decently hard to actually destroy this. It's not so much a commitment in the amount of ships or pilots or DPS that you need to field. It's not like this can one-shot battleships or anything like that, but it is a big investment when it comes to time. You need to plan an entire week just to take out an Astrahus. And keep in mind, this will go lower and lower in value, and so it becomes less and less of an incentive to actually go after an Astrahus Citadel. Honestly, after a while, these will replace the bosses. And considering how ubiquitous bosses are, they are everywhere in EVE Online, and they're not constantly being war decked and destroyed even after offline bosses. People just don't go after that. I think that give the Astrahuses a few weeks to a few months, they will become so common that they will no longer become a conflict driver. People will not specifically war deck you because you just anchored an Astrahus, right? They'll war deck you in order to actually get a fight, get wars, and things like that. But the Astrahus, I think, will become like a boss, something that is anchored everywhere by almost every corporation, and so trying to take out every Astrahus becomes an impossible task anyways. Then having to add that you'll need about a week in order to destroy an Astrahus when you have people that know a little bit about what they're doing, right? Just set your vulnerability timers as spread out as possible, skip a day for your next hour, and you already make destroying an Astrahus something that takes around a week, which is quite a lot of work for what you're actually destroying in most cases. So yeah, I think honestly that give this a little bit of time and the Astrahus becomes worth it as a place to base out of, a place to store some stuff, not too much, keep that in mind. Never store many billions of ISK worth of goods in that. That's not what we're planning to do either. But this will become relatively safe, just like a boss is relatively safe these days, just because of how common the Astrahus Citadel is going to become. That's something that's very important to keep in mind. Let's maybe also quickly release control. Another thing is that if you put them in the right position, and Dital seems to be a very good place for our first Astrahus Citadel, it becomes something that other corporations will also try to use. So oftentimes we do see an Orca that's parked tethered to my Citadel, that's actually giving boosts to the entire system. People are actively mining here, reprocessing in my Citadel. You see miasmoses coming and going, transporting their minerals back and forth, probably to Amar from here. So there's more corporations that are actively using the Citadel, and that means that you have potential allies when it comes to a war. And that is something that really struck me with our Citadel here. On the first day, we had like 12 corp offices that were purchased. They're free in the Citadel, but let's say that they were purchased on the first day right after it was actually anchored. And now we probably have around 20 corporations that have corp hangars here. I think the reason is that this is of course a stationless system that's right outside of Providence. So I know that there's a lot of corporations that are actually tied to Providence. I think what they might want to do is put some cheap response fleets here, right? Some Caracals, maybe some interceptors, stuff like that. Because what happens very often is you have an invading fleet that goes through Providence. They get pushed out a little bit, then they come in here as suspects, and having potentially a small fleet, a response team ready from Dital right away from the Citadel, I think can be something that's very attractive. Equally, attacking forces that want to invade Providence may want to base out of this Citadel as well. But what that means is that now that in order to destroy Citadel, you need to have a war deck on our corporation, and you'll need to go through at least 2 timers, so at least 4 days before you can actually destroy it. That gives all of the people in this corporation plenty of time to notice the war deck, to notice that their assets may be under threat, but if they're willing to have a fight, they can just apply to become an ally, join in the war, and we could actually have a nice defense fleet around this Citadel against whoever is trying to destroy it. I'm also an independent entity. That's very important for co-incorporated, so that means that of course we're not really on the radar for like Goon Swarm or anything like that, I don't think. unless it becomes part of their plan to, let's say, burn down Providence. A big entity might want to destroy our citadel, but it's not very likely because it is completely neutral, open to anyone here. We're not discriminating against any parties here. We just want to become part of the background, part of the facilities that are available in Detal. People can come and go as they please, and that has its advantages and its disadvantages. And I think a big advantage, as I've said, with like around 20 corp offices active in this citadel, if we do get war decked, I really do think that there will be allies that will join that war, help defend the citadel, because they have a little bit of stuff on the line there as well. So yeah, there you go. On the safety of an Astrahus Citadel, I think as we get further into the expansion, as they become more common, these will become pretty safe places to operate from, in my personal opinion. Next up, what I also wanted to discuss were the future plans. So you saw in the fitting that we have a reprocessing array and that I have one rig. It's only the Tech 1 rig, which basically puts the reprocessing here on par with a POS, but the Tech 2 rig can actually make that even better. So we'll be able to provide the best reprocessing within the Detal system if I put a Tech 2 rig in there. That is definitely one thing that I'm looking to upgrade as I earn the money, because I haven't really seen these rigs available just yet, the Tech 2 version. So that's something that I'll need to work on. But I also want a cloning facility as one of the services, just to be able to make that co-incorporated's home base. I'll also make that free, so anyone can make put clones in the co-incorporated reprocessing Astrahus if they want to. But all of this, right, being so early with the Astrahus is not something that I wanted to dive into right in the first week. My current plan is actually, as I make the money to purchase these, a cloning facility is around 500 million ISK. As I earn that money through blueprint copies to some industry and stuff like that, I'll buy it, put it in the Citadel, next phase earn enough for a Tech 2 rig, buy that, put it in the Citadel, and then probably also maybe add a point, change one ECM to a warp scram, and then fill the two other rigs with something that is defensive. And then there we go, we'll have a fully fitted Astrahus with the best refining capabilities in Detal, ready and free for everyone to use. That's basically the next goal for this Astrahus Citadel. Now there's one more thing that I want to show you guys as well. We'll quickly undock for that, and you can see here a first skiff that is here as well, who is actually warping off to go and mine. I do like the location. A lot of people have said that they enjoy the planet in the background like that. What I also like is that you can see a mining belt right there. You're undocking straight towards the sun, so you're undocking towards the center of the system. Pretty good to go to the SS Gamma gate actually. You're pretty much aligned as you undock towards that. But if you look on the left over there, if you look a little bit carefully, there we go. We can actually see Moon 1, and that's my boss over there as well. So all of this is close by. This is definitely co-incorporated territory, right? This is where we're trying to develop Detal. And what I want to show you guys as well is a quick look. Oh, god damn it, I actually forgot to take some minerals. I want to show you guys what we're working on in the boss as well. So let's quickly go for the inventory. I can also quickly show you guys the reprocessing. You can compress here as well, but I'm mostly reprocessing to produce stuff. Here we go. Cost 0 ISK. With my skills, I'm at 71.6%, and going from 17.9 million to 19.2 million. That has reduced in profits as the minerals have not been going up that much in price. But let's see if I can... Okay, I actually did a transport not that long ago, but let's see if I can put all of that in here. Not really. Too much titanium, but all right, we'll take all of this and then we'll move towards the POS. Because what I've been making a lot of money on is not just the blueprint copies, but it's also the Citadel related missiles. Those are pretty big winners. So let's go to industry, and I quickly want to show you guys what I've set up there. As I've said, with the boss being the Citadel, excuse me, being able to reprocess, compress and store goods probably more safely than our old medium POS. I moved this down to a small POS, which is much more efficient when it comes to fuels. This is in fact the Serpentis control tower, the most efficient tower that we have. And so now 5,000 fuel blocks actually give me like 2 weeks of running the POS. This becomes very cheap. I think I'm using less fuel now, and I'll probably still use less fuel with the cloning facility than I did with just a medium POS running. So all of that is pretty damn good news. And then when it comes to productions, it's right here in the ammunition array. So let's move some of this. These stand-up ASML MD missiles have been selling like hotcakes. These have been making me a lot of money as well. And if I show you guys some of the numbers, can I do another 15 runs? Yes, I can. Input materials, 15 million. Average price on the output materials, 51 million. Now that's a markup you'll like to see. Keep one thing in mind, of course, it is already starting to decrease as more people are jumping on these opportunities. But if you find the right market, right, let's say not Jita, but Amar, possibly Rens, or maybe even Nosek somewhere, then you can get this huge markup. More than 3 times the value of my minerals is being created here with these stand-up missiles. I'm making 35 million ISK profit on 15 million in minerals. That's just absolutely huge. I can just start at 3 hours, bring those to the market and sell them. And they've been selling really well. Everything I've brought on the market when it comes to this has been bought within 24 hours. No problem. So yeah, for this POS, as you can see, pretty bare bones. We've got some defenses on top that I actually still need to online a few of. Actually forgot all about that. So let's put this baby online, which takes a few minutes. Then we've got the design laboratory and the research laboratory, so I can make my copies, improve some cheap blueprint originals. That's really all we're doing here. But then equipment assembly array and an ammunition assembly array that is currently focusing on producing stuff related to the Citadels because of the huge markup that we're getting for those at the moment. And yeah, a lot of people have been asking a few questions, so I'll end up with a bit of a Q&A. So unfortunately for you guys, no, we're not recruiting. We want to keep our corporation to real life friends and family only. We also want to remain as independent as possible. So while I do appreciate all of the questions around, do you want to do something together? I can make capital ships and all of that. I'm pretty big in industry. Do you want to go for a project together? The answer to that is no. I want to stay as independent as possible. Making these videos, playing EVE Online and all the other games I want to play takes up a lot of time, and I can't really commit to other players when it comes to EVE Online. I do my own thing here, and that's how I want to keep it. Another thing is for the blueprint copies of the Astrahus itself. I'll quickly show that to you guys. So here you can see me making some copies for some money and creating missiles as well. But Astrahus blueprint copies, I'm making those. It takes 3 days though to create a single blueprint copy, so that takes a very long time, and at the moment the money is just too good. So a lot of people have asked me, well, if you can make a good price, I'll buy one right away from you. Sure, in time I'll probably let you guys know when I've got a few extra Astrahus blueprint copies lying around and I'm willing to sell them cheaply, but at the moment the money is just too good, right? My first one, I put it up for 125 million. It was bought within 2 minutes. So it's just too good at the moment not to bring them to the general market, to have people bid for them and try to make as much ISK for those blueprint copies. So I'm not making them available to you guys privately just yet. As that market dies down and I get a few extra in reserve, they maybe don't sell as fast anymore, then sure, maybe we can discuss something. But at the moment, I'm being a bit greedy here. I'm not gonna let that ISK lie around. It's the exact same reason why I'm not working on the packages just yet. The blueprint copies, which you can see here, owned by corporation, the blueprint copies for the structure parts are also selling too well to actually sort of divert or maybe not run these as efficiently in different jobs to suit the Astrahus blueprint copy. At the moment, just make 500 copies, and some of these are selling for 40 million. So that's just too good money not to go all out in these. Be on top of that market, make as many contracts as you can, keep that ball rolling, get that money while the money is good there. It's a bit of a gold rush when it comes to all of the Citadel stuff, and I'm definitely trying to take my share for that. But if it dies down in a few months, sure, I'll probably slow it down a little bit and maybe make a few blueprint copies available for you guys later on as well. So there we go. I can actually get back to the Citadel, which now I can actually get it right from the overview. So I think the way it works is your Citadel becomes fully online, and after the next downtime it becomes visible on your overview if you have docking rights. And so here in Detail there's also an unidentified structure number 44 from another corporation that is actively starting to develop the Detail system. And this is what I dreamed about when it comes to EVE Online. This is far better than bosses in my opinion, because of all of the interaction, as you can see from all of the corp offices that's possible with this. You can really start to develop these systems to become a part of the ecosystem. A boss is very insular, it's your own little thing. This is your own space city that you can open up to the entirety of the sandbox, and to me that's really what I've dreamt about when it comes to the Citadel expansion. So I'm planning to go after all of the other structures as well to really build up Detail. If we get blown up here, honestly, in Astrahus, I can make another one right now and get started somewhere else if that's what it will turn out to be. But this is very exciting to me, right? Building stuff up, creating something that is not just for me, but that everyone else can interact with as well if they want to. Absolutely a lot of fun. So yeah, there you go guys, pretty long video, a bit of rambling, but it's been such a busy week when it comes to this Citadel here being deployed in EVE Online. A lot has happened, a lot has been learned, a lot still has to be learned and still has to be done, but I'm looking forward to that whole process. It's definitely a big part of my adventure in EVE Online, and I hope you guys will be along for the ride. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.